All right, let's talk a little bit about Twitter. This is Twitter 101. So if you would, please follow me. I've done this presentation before, and that's why you see this hashtag SMCCCIS103. This is a presentation that talks just about the basic context of Twitter. So what are we going to talk about? Just a basic intro to Twitter. And then we're going to talk a little bit about perfecting your profile. In order for people to take you seriously on Twitter, you have to have a profile that includes at the very least your photo. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the anatomy of a tweet, followed by how we can easily get started and get going on Twitter. So with that, let's talk about Twitter. What is Twitter? Twitter is a social media, it's a social network. And what it is it's basically a micro blog, and it allows you to communicate via short messages that are right now limited to 280 characters in length. That is up from their original 240 characters. There's a lot of conversation about the original 140 characters, and it was like that for quite some time. Recently, very recently, I would say within the latter half of 2017, Twitter doubled the number of characters that were available to make a tweet. So learning to tweet. Let's talk a little bit about the language that's used in Twitter. And I think that's one of the things that people find most intimidating. It's almost like Starbucks language, right? So a tweet is a noun, and that's the actual message that you're using. And I need to change this. It's containing 280 characters or less at this point. The actual action of tweeting or making a tweet, or you have tweeted, that is the actual posting of the message via Twitter. The ampersand in front of your username, that's your handle on Twitter. Your username is also your handle, but it should always be preceded by the ampersand. I know this not only holds true for Twitter, it holds true for any social media platform. Some of you have submitted information to me giving me your username, but I would like to inform you that it's actually incorrect unless you put the ampersand in front of it. I am at Bailey-Benson on Twitter. There are no twits or tweakers. There's someone here in my office who likes to refer to people who are on Twitter as tweakers, but there are no tweakers. You don't want to be called a tweaker. And then finally, the hashtag sound. A hashtag is a noun, and that's the word or phrase that we are following, that's trending. And just like with your handle or your username, whatever hashtag you're using, it always has to be preceded by the pound sign. If not, people won't know that that's the hashtag. Some people try to put it in bold. That does not work. It has to have a hashtag immediately in front of it, no spaces. And then finally, on Twitter, one of the things that makes a lot of people uncomfortable is follow. And that's what you want to do. In Facebook there, you have likes. In Twitter, you have followers. And so that is someone subscribing to your Twitter feed because they like what you have to say. So ultimately, if you're trying to push some type of agenda, whether it be personal or political or for some type of passion project, you want people to follow you on Twitter. When it comes to your profile, the number of characters that you can have for your profile has not changed. You're limited to 160 characters for your profile, and I'm just providing just a few examples of some Twitter profiles that are done pretty well. One is from Maricopa Community Colleges. The other profile is my profile, and then finally my really good friend Karen Michelle Mirko. If you've noticed, Karen Michelle and I have hashtags in our Twitter profiles, and that's because when people look for some of these hashtags, or in her case, Black Girls Code, right? It's chances are you could be included in an internet search when people are searching for these particular hashtags. The anatomy of a tweet. This is a little old. This presentation is a little dated, but the information is still just the same. So you have a profile picture. If you do not attach a picture to your Twitter profile, Twitter will assign you an egg. Nobody pays attention to what an egg has to say. Followed by your Twitter account name. So your account name is a little bit different from your username. So you can actually change your account name. So my Twitter handle, my user name on Twitter is Maria Benson, but I prefer to be called Maria Bailey-Benson. So I was able to get the extra characters in with my account name. So this is very different from my username, my account name. Twitter also provides a timestamp. So much like an email, your tweets are timestamped. This in itself is the text of your tweet, right? So this is the tweet. I was actually at a conference when I made this tweet, and so this is the actual context of my tweet. Within this tweet, I included a link to Instagram, which I usually don't do, but I was trying to win a prize. But oftentimes in some of my other classes, I post links inside of tweets as part of assignments for my students. I included a couple hashtags because I wanted the people from this conference and then also from the people who were running this promotion to see my hashtags. And then finally, you know, there are tweet actions. And so you can retweet. I think the star has become a heart. You can like a tweet. So there are actions that can be performed on each tweet. And then finally, how can I make this work? People ask me all the time, how do you make this work? Well, be concise with your wording and leaving space for retweets. That's a little bit easier now because Twitter has 280 characters, not the 140 characters. Like I said, I need to correct this stack. Also, the big thing about Twitter is being a part of a community and being a part of our conversation. So join communities, follow people, follow hashtags. That's the biggest way to become connected on Twitter. When you tweet something interesting, tweet articles or retweet, pertinent information, tweet things that are newsworthy. And I should also say, watch your language also. It's very important that if you want to use this professionally, just know that when people Google you or search for you, some of your tweets might also be returned in your internet search. And then tweet what you see and when and where you see it. Twitter is a great source for news. I know if you are one of those people like me, you're trying to avoid traffic, Twitter is a great place to go to look for the latest and greatest in traffic. And then be visible. Tweet often. I say the optimal number of times to tweet a day or 3 times a day. And you'll be more visible if you tweet in the afternoon. So if you tweet sometime between, I would say, 2 and probably 6, those tweets are more visible. So you're show your fans some love. So when people retweet you or follow you, depending on who it is, you might want to reciprocate by retweeting them and actually following them as well. So I hope you found these tips very helpful. I know the video is a little long, sorry, but thank you for listening.